Welcome to Bench Talk number 40. It's nearly as old as me. Anyway, we are in stage 4 lockdown, which means I can't drive more than 5 kilometres from my house.
Hello!
I can't do anything.
This is the instrument of your liberation.
All I can do is go to essential services, like the bottle shop, and do some gambling, maybe some horse racing.
I don't care what you call it, just get on the beers.
Anyway, Jordo, where are you?
I'm,
Where are you?
I don't know, what, 30 k's from here. We're having to do bench talk remotely. This is ridiculous, but this is what Victoria lockdown's got to.
We could be having some technical difficulties because, let's face it, I've never done this before, Jordo, so hopefully it turns out half alright and I haven't just completely ballsed up the tech side of it.
From the database studio to their home.
Stage 4, right, I've got a little bit of work I can do from home, but I have not left the house in 2 weeks, and to say I'm losing my mind is an understatement, and I've only got another 4. That's assuming that Dan lets us out of our cages, so who knows.
That's not appropriate.
Mate, I live here, and you try to lock me out of bloody Wodonga and Albury? How am I supposed to get to Centrelink?
Jordo, you're used to living in lockdown. I mean, you're at home all the time.
I haven't left the house in about 7 years, so it's pretty business as usual for me, but even I'm losing the plot. It's just ridiculous. Can't even go to Bunnings, get a snag, it's wrecked.
Rex, we can't even take our cars for a drive.
Oh, it is crap. It's total crap. It's just wearing on people.
I honestly had nothing to do the other day, because I was on nothing to do, and I drove to the servo and checked my tyres. And it was a highlight of my day.
You were talking about Dan Murphy's Alco Pops. I went to Dan Murphy's just to take the Lancer for a spin. That's it.
On another note, we've just passed 350,000 subscribers on YouTube, so thanks for the support, guys. Hopefully we'll get to 355,000 soon. In all honesty, I could not care less about the sub numbers.
No, it actually doesn't mean as much as people probably think.
No. And I don't do YouTube full time, and I don't really want to do it full time. I like the other stuff I do, and I just don't want to put all my eggs in that one basket. I'm happy to do it, and I enjoy it.
Saying that, we do appreciate people following us, and it helps us to do it, because otherwise, what motivation have we got to keep making these videos?
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
in stage 4 lockdown. We just want to go to the drags, for God's sakes.
I miss going to the events. I mean, I'm not that stressed about not having videos on YouTube. It doesn't bother me that much, honestly. I miss more the fact actually just going out to
the social side of meeting people at the races and stuff. That's what we've done for years. I think that's what I'm really starting to miss now.
Yeah, YouTube or no YouTube, you and I would still do it. We did it for a long time before we were on YouTube. So yeah, but anyway, Jordo, what's on the agenda for today's episode?
Now, apparently with these stage 4 lockdowns, the roads are pretty quiet, if you've noticed, but the hoons are out in force, letting it rip.
Some of the incidents have left senior police furious. Vision obtained by 9 News shows drivers performing burnouts in the Eastlink tunnels. Now, with heavily reduced traffic during stage 4 restrictions, hoons have been taking advantage after dark.
Goddamn street racer.
Does that mean these hoons are leading to COVID deaths? Is that the issue?
I'd say if you did some deep diving into some of the stats, there would definitely be COVID-related deaths to some of those single peg burnouts. It's outrageous, Jordo, that you're not taking this seriously.
Come on, man.
More Australian buyers keen on electric cars, but doubts remain. Gee, imagine my shock. The study also claims that motorists want the government to subsidise the cost of electric vehicles.
Well, imagine my shock.
It also doesn't help that a large number of Australians don't have somewhere to charge at home. A lot of people living in apartments or terraces and the like. Saying on, this person has actually put together a fairly, it's a genuine comment, like saying they don't have anywhere to charge it. The above comment is in the top 3 of the most pathetic excuses against EV ownership. No one living in an apartment has anywhere to put a petrol bowser. I also don't see petrol bowsers at dozens of locations that EV charge points are located. Now, firstly, what the hell is a petrol bowser? Who says that in Australia?
Bowser.
Bowser. We've covered Bowser fuel. We've covered this before.
Yeah, but Geordie, these are complete IT nerds, and I guarantee you this guy commenting about it has never owned an electric car. They're full EV nerd geeks, have never owned one. You know why they haven't owned one? Because they're a complete rip-off.
Why is he trying to...
I'm not against electric vehicles, but the reality is we're not buying them because, let's say a Corolla's 30 grand, the equivalent in an EV Corolla at the moment is like 50 to 60 grand.
But
why would you buy one?
He's trying to be smart. That comment is just rubbish. Like he's trying to say, this person doesn't have a Yeah, they go to petrol and they fill it up and they take off on the way. How are you going to do that with the electric car? Of course you need to charge it at home.
I don't think charging at home is not a big deal, but obviously if you live in a city...
Yeah, you go in a city, you don't even...
That's a bit hard.
Everything's off-street parking.
And let's say you lived in an apartment block and they had an EV charge point and you come home to charge your car and there's another EV car on charge.
No! God, please, no! No!
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have all those sorts of issues. I'm not against EV, but in Australia, I still think it's a mile off before electric vehicles are outnumbering, ICE engine sales. In Australia, you know what's popular, Jordo? Hybrid cars, and you can see why.
We'll be one of the last countries, like first world countries, that adapts EV because our country's too big and there's not many people living here to warrant it.
The hybrid cars, like the Camrys, you can see why people buy them.
Yeah. Whoa! Now in the news, you might have seen the record was broken for the fastest piston-powered car on land. So this vehicle, or as the Americans would call it, vehicle, went 775 k's an hour, or that is 470 miles an hour. And you remember that is an average of a few runs. It's not just its top speed. Yeah. I think it actually hit 480 something. But 470 is the record it's set. I had a look into it.
So clearly it's a green top Barra with some bolt-ons, yeah? Oil pump gears. Done.
It's actually a 550 cube big block Chev, a pair of Precision Pro Mod 88s, Motec ECU, makes 3150 horsepower and 35 psi. And good old Shane T was tuning it, so you know the best people were behind this thing.
I hire people, smart people.
Oh, if anyone's watched salt racing before, the gearing in these cars is absurdly low to allow them to actually generate the speeds. Of course, they get pushed up to speed by the support vehicle. But how long are the runs going for? 2 minutes? On flat noise, and full noise, at least, wouldn't it?
Look, I haven't looked into this for a few years, but I was under the impression you have a 5-mile track.
That's right, yeah.
And they start timing... Is it after the fourth mile or something?
It's something like that. It's like a mile of track gets timed or something like that. But you're right.
But you've got like four miles to start.
Yeah.
4 miles. Yeah.
This thing looked pretty cool actually. But look it up. It's called Speed Dem, and you'll easily find a lot of news articles about it. Louis, a blast from our past, part of my childhood. They're saying that Knight Rider, they're going to make a new series. Hang on, new series or is it a new movie? So actually, it's
you better tell me what's going on because this is the first I've heard of it.
Apparently, it's not a lot out yet, but they're going to make a new movie. Apparently, and do you remember they made that reboot? I think around the year 2000, and it had that ugly ass.
It had that sick Mustang in it.
I don't know.
And I remember you were telling me you watched it flat stick.
It was pretty cheesy, I must admit. But they're going on about
that Mustang looked pretty sick.
Back in the day,
Trans Am.
Yeah, now it looks like complete garbage. It hasn't aged well, but back then it didn't look too bad. But I mean, they're asking, are we going to see a return of the Pontiac Firebird? I highly doubt it. My segment, new cars. Now, I saw this car. This is not a performance car, but I'm just like, what? Look at this styling. It's a Kia K5. What is going... This replaces, if you're familiar with a Kia, they had a car called, I think, an Optima. It was on sale for ages, or something like 8 years. Pretty common car. It's like a Camry. It's just a nugget driving around. A Kia K5. Look at this whale shark front end. I don't know what's going on. The grille looks like it extends around under the headlights. I mean, I got to take it to Kia. At least it looks different. I mean, this could be AU spec different, but I don't know.
Jordy, when you say at least it looks different, what's that mean? So your car can look like Homer Simpson's car, and you can say at least it looks different. It looks like a whale shark at the front.
No, but that's all I can give it credit for. It looks different because I don't know how anyone could look at this and say it looks good. And the funny thing is, I was watching a review and the guy was saying it looks fantastic, and I was like,
Wrong.
That is absolutely
Wrong.
proved.
I beg to differ. Talk about full nugget specs. Toyota Yaris, another non-performance car. Why am I covering this? This is a nugget of the A-grade nuggets. This is McNugget levels.
Why are you covering this?
These pieces of junk, this has gone up. Toyota's risen the price $9,000. This is a car that only cost 16 grand. That's a fair price. 16 grand. It's now over 20 grand. And even most of the articles about it were saying they've priced themselves completely out of the market.
Are they just softening the blow for when they sell that 3-cylinder Yaris that's at like 55 grand?
I don't know. And on top of that, if you get in something like, say, a Toyota Corolla, I don't know how you could say they're good quality. They are bargain basement cars, Toyotas, Camrys, Corollas. They're just cheap plastic and just fake chrome trim, and it's crap. I don't know why people like them.
Yeah, but Geordie, people buy them because they have such a good reliability. And look, we have a Toyota in one of our family cars, and we've had it about 6 years, and you know, it's pretty, you can see why people buy them. They never break down. But in all honesty, like if you go and hop in a Mazda, equivalent Mazda, it's such a better car.
Oh, it's much better. I mean, imagine going and forking out like 22 grand on one of these things.
Saying that, Geordie, I wouldn't buy any of these pieces of crap. I go and stick with a trusty Renault.
Now, another thing that was in the news, Gordon Murray. A lot of people would know that name. He is the guy behind the brains behind the F1 from McLaren. When was that? Late 90s? No.
That would have been like the mid. I'm just guessing mid 90s,
something like that.
Or maybe earlier, maybe 90, 92, 93.
Yeah, but he was the brains behind that car. He has a long established. He's been involved in obviously Formula One. Anyway, he's had this car he's been designing for many years. And he did a whole lot of presses a few weeks ago, and it showed, you know, the journos are able to get up close and actually see what is basically a prototype car, and it looks like it's, 90% complete. He was kind of saying that. This thing is unreal. He's basically, he wants a supercar that is a traditional raw driving car. No hybrid, not a heavy thing, nothing like what a lot of the other manufacturers are doing.
It's got a conventional gearbox in it, yeah.
I've got the stats here.
Sorry, a conventional manual gearbox.
It's got a conventional manual gearbox in it, yep. It's the center seating again, like the old F1, and the occupants, the two occupants to the side that sit slightly back. And he was saying about how much, because of all the composite materials and stuff, this car is about the same size, but it's got way more headroom and space in it. And he's just saying it's so, obviously because of the advancements in materials, things are so much lighter. Saying that, there are also a lot more regulations with cars now. So they've got to put a lot more features into the car that necessarily didn't have to do 25 years ago. But he was saying, I mean, look at
one thing I like about that car, it doesn't have monstrous wheels on it.
No.
I don't know if you saw some of the videos. He was saying like putting these 22-inch wheels is just...
I think it's got 19s on it or something, and he was saying anything big is ridiculous. He was talking about, because you see a lot of manufacturers now, they use carbon fibre wheels. He was flat out against that. He said that is so wrong. Just should not be used for a wheel. Just because you're saying the way they break down, if they fail, is they don't just kind of bend, and he goes, it would just be a monumental breakage. But he was saying this thing, it's a 663 horsepower. It uses an engine from Cosworth. Now this is a 3.9 litre 65 degree V12. Imagine how good this thing's going to sound. Yeah. It revs to 12,000 RPM. It's gonna sound nuts. They were saying something like it makes 80% of its torque from like 2,500 RPM too. It's not like it's a lazy engine. Oh yeah, he was just saying it's amazing how far that engine tech has come. The whole car weighs just
a lot of people
900.
A lot of people were dissing the looks of it. I actually don't mind it.
You can see
it's not covered in aero. I shouldn't say that. It doesn't have wings.
Yeah, and you can see how it's got a similar nose to the old one. Like it's got the ducks on the side.
Yeah,
you can see the style is similar. Yeah. Weighs just 986 kilos. Now, when you're comparing that to like, think of the current Porsche hybrid supercar they built. Most of these cars are, they're like 1,800, 1,900 kilograms. They're so complicated.
That perspective, that's like the weight of like a Mazda MX-5.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. In these videos too, he had an engine and the transmission on a stand, so he could obviously go around and show that. And he was saying that the engine has no belts. So there's no power steering belts, alternator belts, none of that stuff. It runs what they call as an integrated starter generator. So the starter motor alternator is 1 unit, and it in itself generates 48 volts to run the fan.
Yeah.
So step back a bit. The big difference with this car is, remember the old Brabham fan motor, I think it was the Formula 1 car that caused all the controversy? This car has a fan on the back of the car that creates ground effects, essentially. So it's creating downforce. Downforce. No, I don't think any other manufacturer's got this kind of setup. So when you look at this car, it is extremely different to anything else that's come out. It'd be very interesting to see how it gets.
They're making, I think, the same amount as they made on the McLaren. Is it 100 and...
It's not many, no.
103 or something.
Actually,
like that.
what I don't have here, and it was funny. He was pretty believable.
$4 million, Jordo, I think.
They're like, the typical, what's the 0 to 60, as in 60 mile an hour, and he's like, I don't care. He's just sitting in interviews going, I don't care what the speed is, I don't care what the Nürburgring time is. He goes, I don't care, because he goes, I just know it'll be the funnest car to drive. That's all he cares about, which is fair enough. Because he said, what's the point in setting a record with top speed, 0 to 100 mile an hour, whatever, because he goes, someone will just come along a few months later and break it anyway. And so he goes, there's no point trying to compete with that stuff. And even he goes, when you look at it, 660 horsepower, it doesn't even weigh a ton. It's going to fly. I think it's got actually, he was saying, I think it's got a better power to weight than most of these hypercars anyway. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, a lot of those supercar hypercars aren't as light as you might think they are.
No.
They've just got a lot of power.
But there's always the naysayers. Or, if you don't have 4 million and want speed, just go build an Ultima, same weight, drop in any horsepower from 400 to 1200, go high spec gearbox, what? And diff, maybe cost $250,000, cruder aerodynamics, but power to weight that would destroy this car. It won't beat it, Luke. It'll destroy it. So you can just get some Ultima kit car, slam in an LS with a turbo, and she'll be right. I mean, I don't even know why he didn't think of this. And it's funny, in the interviews, he was actually mentioning how when they were developing engines for, I think it was, it might have been the previous F1, though I think they might have even thrown one in an Ultima, just so they could drive it around. So I don't think Gordon Murray knows about an Ultima, so...
With insight like that, people like that should be heading up Formula 1 teams.
Just like Gordon Murray. Now, from new cars to used cars, browsing car sales, yet again I found this perler. This is, it says here, a 1968 Jaguar E-Type. Now, I don't know if this is a legit E-Type or some sort of kit car.
There's no way that's legit.
$250,000. Now when I checked the ad, it's come down. He's knocked it down to $225K. But it's not
210. It's going to keep going lower. That would be a very hard car to sell.
Well, it is now. I mean, why have they done this to the car? It's got an iconic shape, yet they've grafted Nissan 370Z front and rear lights on the car.
Why?
That's a personal taste thing, but I don't think it actually improves the look of an E-Type personally. The car's actually it's a nice car.
I don't want to be devil's advocate here, but wouldn't someone buying an E-Type kit car, for example, want the thing to look like an E-Type?
Yeah, this just looks like, what have you done to it? But the thing is, the rest of the car looks alright, but then you kind of look at it and go, what the hell? But that's a lot of money for that car. But anyway, each to their own.
Hey, look, a car's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. I see plenty of cars and I think, no offense to Holden VL Commodore Turbo owners, but at the end of the day, those cars aren't that special.
Say that again.
Those cars aren't that special for what people pay for them, and I know I'm going to cop some hate mail for this.
No, I've never understood the BT1 thing. It's like, if I wanted a VL, I want a Calais. I don't want a BT1. That's just an executive.
Yeah, no, you want to buy a car that's an ex-police car. How does that make it valuable?
I think we've just hit... unsubscribes just went down 1,000. Now, speaking of the almighty Barra, check out this show you'd have found from Queensland. Now, obviously it's from Queensland, sums it up. It's pretty highly detailed, this beast. That's an interesting one. That's a lot of stereo, actually. And I think it's designed to hit, what, not just a kangaroo. This guy could probably just go through a herd of cattle.
At the time of recording, we're halfway through our supposed 6-week stage 4 lockdown. Now, I see online people in Queens...
We're actually 26 weeks into a 6-week lockdown. Get it right.
There is no way out of here.
Yeah. But I see people in Queensland saying, yeah, hang in there, guys. We did it tough as well through our lockdowns. What planet are these people living on?
What's Queensland been through?
That's what I'm trying to work out. Like, I don't think they understand when they say Victoria's in lockdown, what stage 4 is. I literally, like, I'm not in a permitted field.
No, a lot of people aren't. I'm lucky. I can work at home. It doesn't affect me so much, right? But like,
I can do some work at home.
You're way more.
Don't get me wrong. But like most of my work, like I go and film stuff, obviously a lot. I can't do any of that. I know 3 people who run landscaping businesses. They're not even allowed to go and mow a lawn by themselves outside. Do you know what I mean? Yet, you know, there's horse racing industry still running to a point. There's so many industries open. You're just like, oh yeah. Now, Jordo, apparently we've only got another 3 weeks in this stage 4, but the reality is they're not going to drop it back to nothing overnight. So they'll probably be in stage 3 till the end of the year, I'd say. Which means...
They had stage 3 projected up until December.
Yeah, so realistically, in Victoria, or I shouldn't say Victoria, in Melbourne, I don't think there'll be any car events for the rest of the year.
No, it's ridiculous. And to think we went to the drags in March in Sydney, and we probably won't go to the drags until next year. That is crazy.
Was that the last time we went?
Yeah, in Sydney.
Yeah.
I don't think
that got rained out. That got rained out, didn't it? In the end. It's sad, but
we haven't actually been to the drags, Luke. We haven't been to the drags in Melbourne since I think mid-December or something. Or whatever. It was late last year. It's ridiculous. It'll be like a year plus that we haven't been to the drags. It's crazy. But all we can say is...
The highlight of my week is my daily trip to the bottle shop to drown my sorrows.
Warm up
the support those essential
5Ks. 5Ks is a long way to go on E85. Getting quality fuel economy.
I drove to Bunnings the other day and I reset the trip computer. 5.01 kilometres to Bunnings. I was outside my legal boundaries. Next time you see us on bench talk, actually you may not actually see us again. We could go into stage 5. Stage 5 apparently you're not even allowed to look out the window, Jordo.
No, that's very bad, eh? So you tell that to Channel 9. What are you? Channel 7? 8, 10, 12?